Hello, listeners, and welcome to another episode of Kessel Run Collecting. I'm your host, Eric Berry, and with me, my co-host, Matt White.
You.
Oh man, I feel like we're on a roll here because it wasn't too long ago we recorded episode 2. We're gonna have to make this a habit.
Yeah, every few weeks we can try instead of the once a month maybe we
Yeah,
used to have.
yeah, this is actually going to be our first topic-based episode instead of just talking about the news and stuff like that. We've wanted to get on some more topics, and tonight we're going to be talking about comic packs, which are much beloved by many, many collectors because they were doing really, I mean, back when the comic packs were being made, just all around, it was a golden age for Star Wars action figures, really. But before we get into all that, there is, of course, the sad news of the passing of Peter Mayhew. Matt, you ever get a chance to meet him?
I never did, though I've heard plenty of stories about Peter Mayhew. I just basically people singing his praises. I don't think, unlike certain other members of the old cast, I don't think I've ever heard anyone say anything bad about Peter Mayhew passing. But I knew, I kind of had heard like he was getting in bad health there about a little bit before Celebration. So when they said he was going, I was a little bit surprised he was going, but he went because he loved the fans and they
Yeah.
loved him.
Yeah, it was kind of weird too because just probably about a week or two ago, someone was commenting on the different Star Wars autographs that I had on my wall, and they pointed out Carrie Fisher, and they're like, well, no one's gonna be able to get her autograph again. And I said, well, not just that. I said Kenny Baker, I have him. David Prowse. I think he's still doing conventions, but not outside of the UK because his health is kind of rough. And then, I said, and Peter Mayhew, he'll probably be the next one to pass away because his, health has been rough for a very long time. A lot of it dealing with his gigantism or whatever you call it. And man, then it was just like a week later, he actually does pass away. And despite his limitations, that dude did so many conventions. Right up until the very end. There was actually a convention, I don't remember which one, where he was scheduled to be there. And some people turned it into almost like a little mini memorial for him. So, he wasn't planning on stopping anytime soon. And for people that are out to get autographs and stuff like that, it just makes you think. Don't hold off too long, even with someone like Peter who just did a ton of conventions every year. It's the kind of thing you might say, well, he does a lot of shows, so I'll pass that up and get, someone else's autograph or something. Because you never know. Someone could even be in a car accident, regardless how healthy they are. You have to weigh how much are you going to risk getting one now or not. And the original Star Wars cast, no one's getting any younger. Don't wait forever if you want cast autographs for some of these original actors.
I figured when the original trio dies, that's when I don't know. That'll be something odd because you figure Harrison will live longer than all of them because he's immortal, almost. But
If he goes, it's going to be because of like wrecking an aircraft or something. Or on the flip side, he's only survived all of the crashes because he's actually a Highlander.
he always seems like he's in this he has his foot caught in a door, got it broken, crashed twice in two different planes. What else?
I,
What
I, I
else is he
think I
doing?
think he's been in a helicopter wreck too.
There you go. There you go.
Let me just say, I don't think I would fly or ride with the guy.
No, I mean, well, no, not if he's piloting. No,
No, no way.
yeah, I mean, like the dude and all, but no, 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 no.
So,
Here we go.
yeah, there was that sad bit of news.
Yeah, we'll miss Chewie.
Yep, we will. But anyway, on to more fun things to talk about. What have you gotten lately since the last show? I know it hasn't been real long.
Literally, I've gotten something we're gonna talk about. I got a comic pack I found in a toy store, antique store slash toy store of Lieutenant General and Dina Shan for more female Imperial officer bodies.
Nice. How much was it?
Like $22. So it's not too
That's
bad.
not much more than retail, so that's a really good price.
Yeah. I mean, and then not really much. I mean, I've pre-ordered everything. Like for some reason, all like the next 3 waves of cases are out, and I can pre-order and I can pre-order them all with Dorkside and with Hasbro Pulse or EE, And I'm just like, okay, everything's pre-ordered, and I'm just waiting because nothing's hitting the stores. I did get, I got my two. I did get the Walmart exclusive Lando Calrissian 3 3/4 skip guard.
Yeah, have not seen
I,
it at stores.
I didn't get him off. I had to get him off of eBay. He cost me. He only cost me like $20 a pop, so it's only like $6, $7 more. So, but free shipping. So I was like, all right, I'll do it. And I bought 2 of them, $40. There we go. That's all. That's all I've gotten recently. That's all. What about you? What have you gotten
Well,
recently?
I went on Hasbro Pulse and I ordered 2 of the new skiffs coming out because I had them pre-ordered at Big Bad Toy Store, which was significantly more, and so I canceled that order. Got them on Hasbro Pulse, and I pre-ordered, I believe it was the Imperial Assault Tank Driver, because last time I was on Hasbro Pulse, they were actually sold out. So I picked that up, and I think I got the 3 pack of skiff guards. I pre-ordered that because I'm not fooling around with all this store crap anymore. If Hasbro Pulse has it up for pre-order, boom, I'm doing it. And I bet you a lot of other people will do the same thing. People have been talking about this for a long time. With distribution being so bad, they're telling Hasbro, look, just put it on your site. We'll buy it. We'll buy it direct from you. So I ordered those, and I got, even though I didn't really care for the movie, I got the Jedi Training Rey, and that got to my house fast, almost overnight. I got it.
Hmm.
What turned out, it actually came from, the address said it came from like about 2 hours away.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I guess they have like a distribution center of some sort, and they shipped it from there. So I got that really fast. So I think that's really all I got as far as figures, and then I picked up 2 of the Walmart exclusive
Oh yeah.
vintage
TIE
ties.
fighters.
Now I had picked up one because I already have a legacy tie, and I had heard, oh, this is the same mold or whatever. So I figured I only want 2, so I'll pick up one, get it home, open it up. The ball cockpit, completely new sculpt on the vintage one. Much better, too. Much more detailed. It has like a little ejection seat and everything like that
Yeah,
actually comes out.
it's the same. It's the same ball cockpit from the Target exclusive TIE fighter, the short wing one from 2012.
Oh, see, now I
2010.
didn't know that. I
Oh,
thought it
okay.
was a straight up mold of the legacy one. So I'm looking at them and I'm like,
Because when you kept telling me that on Facebook, like, what is this guy talking about?
yeah,
I'm like,
I
yeah.
totally did not remember that Target one at all. So I said, okay, well, I need to get another one now. And when I picked up the first one, it was down to $40. The shelf tag still said $59.99. And so I had it scanned. They said it was 40. I'm like, okay, good. So I went back a day or two later. There had only been 2 on the shelf. I went back a couple days later. The other one was gone. They had reset the aisle and everything. So I went to a different Walmart, and that one had 12 of them or something like that. They had a whole bunch of them. So I
Wow.
picked up my second one there. That one was also $40. But then what really pissed me off was a few days after that, someone local said, "Oh yeah, that Walmart now has them marked down to 20." And I'm like,
Could have waited.
yeah, yeah, but that's the risk with playing the long game. And a couple times I have gotten burnt where I said I'm gonna play the long game, and they sold out for the little bit higher price.
And I say, you gotta play the long game where you do like me and see my Walmart, my toy aisle is right next to my home and garden. So I take them and slide them under like the the
You're
bird
a
bags
hider.
of bird seed. Yeah, I'm a hider. So I mean, no one ever knows the home and garden. No one cares about the area. So like, oh look, what do you know? Oh, looks like they're here.
Yeah, so but you know what? I'm not hating it. $40. It's like, I'm not hating that price.
Yeah, I picked up another one for 40. I had forgot to mention that. That was like a while ago actually. That was like 3 weeks ago when they first went on 40, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Something like that.
I've seen some people now that they dropped to 20. Well, for example, I was just at that Walmart no, it was today. I was just at that Walmart today and I looked. Not a single one left. It's like when they hit $20, I've been seeing all over Facebook people like have a stack of like 12 of them and they'll be like, yeah, I bought a whole squadron, you know. But, you know, and this is almost a whole nother topic in and of itself. But people have learned, especially on these, what most people agree is marked up, overpriced vintage packaging. People are learning that they can play the long game on it. I did on the tank. A lot of people did on the tank. And there was a lot of people that even were okay paying 80 for the tank, but they played the long game on it.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact,
I bought one at 80 on a tank, and then I waited because that was it was too much for that, too much for this TIE fighter.
yeah,
too.
definitely for the TIE fighter. When I mean, the tank is every part on that is brand new. The TIE fighter, nothing.
I don't think nothing's new. It's the legacy wings with the vintage TIE short wing version from Target there. So I mean, nothing on that.
Yeah, that was definitely overpriced. I'm surprised they put a figure with it, considering that the vintage collection they weren't putting figures with them, because in the vintage days you didn't get figures with the vehicles. So I was actually surprised they included a TIE pilot. You figure, okay, maybe that's $10 of the value, 12 by today's standards, but still, it's overpriced, you know, for something that's just all old molding. But, you know, now I have two of them. Beyond that, didn't really pick up anything else new. But, so that's all you really got then?
That's all I got.
All right, so, okay, we're going to go into our topic about the comic packs.
One of my favorite topics,
Comic
actually.
packs have been really cool, even though no one really cares about the comic in it.
What says you? I love my Tales of the Empire comic, or Empire comics.
Really? You like picking up a set of action figures with a comic that starts at like issue 2 or something?
Heck yeah, if the art's good. I pick up comics for art. I don't pick them up for the stories, because like I figure most stories are comic stories. So if I'm gonna actually like pick up a comic, it's like when I pick up all of my Star Wars comics now, like the stories are corny, so I don't really care that much. I care about the art. So I'm like, yeah, it's okay. Something happened here. Something like those old Marvel comics back in the day, or in some of the Dark Horse ones. Some of the stories are just like your normal sci-fi tropes, but some of the artists were amazing.
Well, the interesting thing about the comic packs is everyone, when we think of comic packs, we think of the ones that were out in the 30th anniversary and the Legacy, which is pretty much like their heyday. But it actually goes back to Power of the Force 2 with the Shadows of the Empire, because they had 2 comic packs.
Oh yeah, I forgot
that's
about
the thing
that.
everyone does, because it was just 2 packs.
Oh, and they had that unique sculpt Vader in one of them too. Remember
the Vader Prince Xizor one?
Xizor, yeah, because that Vader had a special cape on it.
I didn't know that.
That was new sculpt, and they eventually put it on a single card later. I think for a green card later. But when it first came out, that cape was different than the normal cape for Vader in the PO Force 2.
Back then, too, that with those comic packs, they posed them side to side. It was definitely like a versus type pack, like Xizor versus Vader, which
big plastic square. Remember, that's how they could fight each other.
And Xizor had a shield, because that would work against someone who could choke him from over the intercom, pretty much. None of that was in the comic. It was literally just some sort of tie-in. And then the other one, I believe, was Boba Fett and IG-88.
I think, was the IG-88 a new sculpt? I can't remember.
I don't believe it was. I think it was just the regular one they had.
Well, I mean, it was still nice, though.
Yeah, they were interesting. I didn't have any of those because I had all that stuff single-carded. It's like I didn't feel the need to pick up that. But yeah, it was just those 2, at least that I remember. And then they went away and they brought them back during the 30th anniversary, which, like I said, that was a golden era for Star Wars collecting in general. Unfortunately, a lot of the characters, they had those stupid swivel elbows they were doing at the time.
Oh, yeah, that was...
I hate swivel elbows so much.
And I think some didn't even get that, didn't they? in those comic
It
packs?
it was
Well,
really
I don't.
random,
Go ahead.
okay? So when they came out, they had some with swivel elbows, they had some with fully articulated elbows, they had some that had articulated knees, and then ones that didn't have articulated knees. I think one of the packs, one of the figures was basically 5 POA. They were kind of all over the place, and some of them had soft goods. So and I think they had said at the time it was like a budgetary thing. They had to decide, okay, what was important to have in that pack. And they were pretty good prices too. Even if you take out the fact that it had a comic in it, which cost something to print. They were a pretty good value. I think they were $17 or something like that at
Oh
the
wow.
time. So I mean that's less than $10 a figure, and they were putting out good figures. If we go back, I'm looking at the list now from the 30th anniversary collection, and one of the first ones I remember, it doesn't say it's an exclusive, but I could have sworn it was an Entertainment Earth exclusive, and that was Carnor Jax and Kirk Hanos from the Crimson Empire series.
What year was that one? That was
I think 2008, around then.
let me take a look here. Carl
Because I
Jackson.
know for a fact I never saw that in stores, and I had ordered mine, I believe, from Entertainment Earth. Now those dudes, one of the things that got me thinking about comic packs was I was starting to unpack some of my figures and put them on display just the other day, and I was actually going through a lot of the comic pack figures, and the Kirk Hanos and Carter Jackson set, those dudes had articulated knees, but they had swivel elbows.
Hmm. I never got the. See, I was out by then. I had just left
You had
the
left and
collecting.
got back and missed like the best part. You really
Yeah,
did.
because like I was like, well, the figures weren't that great anymore. I'm not really excited because the prequels were cool and all, but like they had kind of put a lot of the because I it was right after Attack of the Clones. I was like, man, I got in college. I'm gonna go ahead and leave, and then because I hated the pre-post stuff from the
Right,
Saga One
right,
line,
definitely.
and then who I never knew all this stuff happened because Carnor Jackson,
Yeah,
Kirk
I really
Canos.
loved the Crimson Empire series.
Oh yeah, from Dark Horse.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yes,
So that's one reason why those figures are so cool, and they got removable helmets too.
yep.
Um, and then they did a run that were basically all the ones that they practically had to clearance out because no one wanted them, and that was where they would take figures and they had them with the Marvel comic color scheme for the original Marvel comic run. So Vader would have like weird colored eyes, and stormtroopers would have blue highlights on their armor.
Yep, yep.
And I don't know, I just thought they were horrible. And I think a lot of other people did too, because those packs just hung around forever.
I remember. Oh man, that was. I saw those later on, and I wondered why they just didn't leave the original version painted like they were and put those in the thing, and just maybe not have it line up exactly like it's what's in the comic, because some of it was awful.
Yeah, it was.
Um,
One thing that was so great
you know,
about the comic packs was it's that they did stuff that wasn't in any of the movies. They did original
yeah,
characters that were just from comics and novels and stuff like that.
like Mouse and Basso from that's all from that one run of Empire where you got Lieutenant General and Dina Shan, you got Tank and Amount of Men, and then you have Mouse and Basso in
Yeah,
Stormtrooper
which was funny
disguises.
because I
Those
was
are
just looking at those, and the alien one, I guess that's Mouse. He doesn't have stormtrooper gloves. Like his alien hands are showing through the through the armor, and it's like, it's not a great disguise, dude.
that's when because they took it off the cover when he puts the helmet on. That was the cover
Oh,
shot of
okay,
him putting the helmet
okay.
on. And but he wears the gloves when he's walking around the base. So I don't know. They just thought, oh,
Yeah,
this would be cool.
some of them would have two really good figures, and then some you were definitely buying it for one figure. Like Lieutenant Judlin and Dina Shan. The Lieutenant Judlin figure was just Ozzel with a different head.
yeah.
And he had
Yep.
swivel elbows. It was like a very weird, specific pose and stuff like that.
it was Oswald putting his
Yeah.
hand in his throat, so
Now,
because he's getting choked.
now you could
And
keep him as some sort of army builder and just have him in the background somewhere. But really, the Dina Shan figure was the highlight of that because you can
and
yeah,
still is,
I
by the
mean you
way.
can use that as a basic female officer, even with a removable cap
Exactly.
and everything.
Her and Juno Eclipse have been the only. Well, I guess Anna Ice have been the only female officers you ever got ever. So
Yasan Isard.
that's what I
Oh,
said.
okay.
Yasani Ice
Yeah, and they all use the same body mold and stuff, just with different heads.
mold.
But
Yeah.
that brings up another one. I mean, Yasan Isard, that was a I forget who she was packed with. That was
She was with Officer Baron Fell, but in an officer outfit.
okay, okay.
When
Yeah, I
you know,
believe I must have gotten her loose somehow because I had Baron Fell in his officer outfit, but I know it wasn't until years later. Yeah, I mean, those are all good figures. They did a Luke, which was a kind of unique Luke, where he had like the top part of his X-wing costume off, and it came with a helmet with like the breathing mask, which was really cool.
and
But
Mara Jade.
but
Yeah.
the thing about that was like that Luke, his legs were pre-posed, kind of in an actiony stance, and the Mara figure was pretty good, and she even had the little hood scarf
Remo-
thing.
Removable hood. Yeah, which they've
Yeah,
never
the
made
the thing that
again.
was
So
annoying though was she had
her
swivel
pistol.
elbows.
Yeah, and her pistol was like the size of her
Yeah.
head, which was
Yeah.
crazy. Like when they remade her, it was so whack because when they remade her in the Black Series 5 years later, or 6 years later, and they actually made a good body for her that actually was black and not blue, and then like gave her like they didn't give her the hood, which I was upset about. But they gave her that huge hair. Like I actually like the hair in the comic pack version better than when it comes to the hood better than the actual one that has it's a good
Well,
articulation in the Black
one
Series later
reason it
on.
wouldn't have the hood is that hood was specific to the purple outfit.
They gotta recolor
Well,
it.
well, well,
I
here, well,
mean, it.
here's what you do for the Black Series one, and I got this. I saw other people were doing it, and it looks amazing. They did a Black Widow figure that I think it was exclusive to Toys R Us, where it came with like a stand. It was some sort of stand, and then it had a Black Widow figure, and the head sculpt on that, you pop it straight off, put it on the Mara Jade figure. I think the ball joint like just matches up perfectly and stuff, and you have an amazing looking Mara Jade figure. Everything wrong with that figure came down to that ridiculous hair.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm trying to think because I mean it's the same outfit, by the way. That's from that she's in because that black outfit remember they had purple color on it because that's what the when Blanche and Fatine did the original art. It was the nighttime light hitting her
Oh,
outfit.
okay.
That's why it's like that. I assume they just pulled these things straight off the art from the things from Era of the Empire. I'm looking at the Luke right now. He had he did have the holster on his chest though, which I thought was kind of cute. That's also from Era of the Empire when he had slipped it up out of the X-wing when
Yeah.
it's damaged. Yeah, I really
I wish they
wish.
had done a better job on that Luke because I did kind of like that version. I mean, they had some really good ones in the 30th anniversary, but I think where they really started coming up with some really kick-ass stuff was Legacy, and they just really went nuts on some of the stuff they were doing. Looking here, I know one that I'm happy with is they had one. It was Asajj Ventress and Toll Score from I forget what the title was that was from.
See, that version of Ventress I was never a fan of. Like, and I remember they put her on the single card version of that for that head sculpt too
Well,
for
I
Clone
had
Wars.
that one, but it had like this black skirt. It had no knee articulation or anything like that. I had that one for a while, and I replaced it with this one because this one has more articulation and it has the soft goods and everything.
Mm.
So right now, I mean, this is like my definitive interest that I have at the moment.
See, I prefer the Clone Wars one. That's more like the actual animation than the because
Oh, I see what you're saying. Not
not the 2D animation, but the CGI
right, right.
animated
But
version
but they
is the one I like.
had when the Tart
But they
when
also
the
made
first
two. Go ahead.
Tartakovsky Clone Wars came out, they did those stylized animated ones, but then they also did a few that were realistic version.
Yeah, like the one in this comic pack. Like that head sculpt's from that
Yeah, I believe
one.
so.
It's on like a sandy white card. Yeah, I remember it, and I didn't like that either. That's why when the CGI one came out, I finally decided to pick one up because I like Ventress. But I just
Yeah.
was like, God, that
Yeah,
picture looks.
the other dude that
Yeah.
comes in this pack, kind of reminds me of like a Thor ripoff. I just don't really care about that dude. I actually got the Ventress loose. I didn't buy him as the pack.
Oh, here's one we've forgotten about that was possibly awesome and still gets more awesomer every day. Grand Admiral Thrawn and Talon Karrde.
Yes. That is
I
that
love.
is a great set. And that is a case where they're fully articulated, both of them. It
Yep.
wasn't like they really tried to go cheap on it. Not a big fan of the head sculpt on Thrawn. I think he looks a little bit too much like he's trying to be Dracula. The power of the Force 2 Thrawn, I actually did a head swap because I prefer that head.
What?
Yes,
Really?
I so much more prefer that
No,
head.
no, the Legacy was way better. What are you talking about? The Legacy had the vampire thing works for him. He's supposed to be some weird blue-skinned alien thing that comes out of the air with blue glowing eyes. Yeah, he looks. All right, I'll get you. We'll discuss head sculpts on Thrawn later because that's an entire conversation in and of itself. All right.
Well, one thing
So
that I really like that they started doing once they got to Legacy is the Legacy comic, which I was a big fan of. Takes place like 100 years after A New Hope or whatever, with a descendant of Luke and Cade Skywalker. And there's a bunch of Sith running around, and because everyone was like, "Oh, Darth Maul's cool," they thought it would be cool that all the Sith are like tattooed black and red and stuff.
yeah, I know where you're going with
Okay,
this.
but they had some really great sets. They had Darth Talon and Cade Skywalker, which both of them were good figures. My beef again came down with the posability. Darth Talon, who is a Twi'lek with Darth Maul tattoos and stuff, she's very acrobatic in the comic, but they didn't even give her articulated elbows. They didn't even give her swivel elbows.
Wow, you're
Yes,
right.
so I mean, she kind of just stands there and can point her lightsabers around and kind of swing them like a helicopter. For a character that is acrobatic, it's like why did they cheapen out on that? Like I think they could have taken, if they had to sacrifice something on that specific pack, go with like no knee joints on Cade Skywalker, because with the coat you're not going to get that much posability anyway. It was just a very, very weird choice. And then one of the legacy ones that I really, really like, I think is very solid. Again, those of you that haven't read the legacy comics, the Crimson Guard eventually end up becoming, in this new version of the Empire, they become what is referred to as the Imperial Knights, and they're like a cross between a Royal Guard and a Jedi. They all have basically like factory produced lightsabers. They have some limited knowledge of the Force and Force abilities. They don't wear helmets, but they have really cool red armor and black capes and stuff like that. And they did a 2-pack of two of the characters, and Terry's Draco and Ganner Krieg, and that's a really, really, really nice set. And the interesting thing about the character Ganner Krieg is he's actually his likeness in the comic and in the figure, of course, is based off a real guy who is actually an amazing cosplayer in the Star Wars community. And the artist for the comic, I guess, knew him and decided to put him in the comic. So that's really cool.
This is in the Legacy, or is this 30th
This
anniversary?
is in the Legacy.
See, I wasn't real huge to the Legacy. When did the Legacy start? Legacy Comics start. That was like 2000
Probably like
and
seven or eight.
right after I got out.
Yep.
So I missed it too. I remember hearing about the line starting and how it would take place like 100 or so years later.
Yeah, it was pretty cool
But
because instead of just making Luke's descendant kind of like a goody two shoes, basically he was like addicted to some drug. He was a bounty hunter. He had been trained as a Jedi for a little bit, and the Jedi again almost got wiped out. And he basically abandoned his heritage and became like a bounty hunter. Like he would hunt other Jedi. Like he didn't give a crap. And then eventually he kind of like redeems himself and starts embracing his Jedi heritage. But it was pretty cool that they didn't just try to make him like another Luke. That was something I really liked about it. But those Imperial Knight figures are awesome. I love the armor and everything. They then had another Imperial Knight character, Sigil Dare, and
Oh yeah, with Darth Krayt.
Darth Krayt.
Yeah.
Now here's where I get frustrated with a lack of consistency. Sigil Dare is wearing Imperial Knight armor, the same as the other two characters in the other pack, but they did some sort of, I don't think it was vac metalized, but they used some sort of metallic paint, so it's actually like shiny and
A
polished,
shiny red.
and it
Yeah.
looks freaking awesome. But you put her with the other two characters, and there's a glaring difference. And no matter how nice it looks, when they did that other pack, I rather would have had them just paint it so it would match the other ones. If it comes down to something looking really cool or looking consistent, in a lot of cases, especially if it's part of a team or some sort of army builder, consistency is very important. So, it was kind of frustrating that they decided to go that route, but that's a good pack. They did I'm trying to think of the name. It was Darth Nile.
Darth Nihilus?
No, not Nihilus. It was Darth Nile. But yeah, they had another set that was Darth Nile, who he kind of looks like a dark elf, and he came with, I'm trying to think of her name.
Lila
Yes,
Blue.
yes. But yeah, so
Uh,
they had a bunch of legacy packs, which was really nice to see because, like I said, I was a fan of that. There was once again, here's an example of another pack where one figure, like, I just totally didn't care about it, and I liked the other figure. There was a pack with Darth Vader and Grand Moff
Tracta.
Yeah, and he's got some weird goggles and a breathing device and stuff like that. It was like Darth Vader, another Darth Vader figure. So kind of like, who cares?
I'll give you my example of who cares versus, and it had potential too, man. Was the only one they made for, I think it was the only one they made for Shadows of the Empire, which was that Zizor and Leia
Yes,
Organa.
because that was a good Zizor figure, but that Leia was.
Ooh, it's rough to look at it right now on the screen.
Yeah,
Oh
it
man,
was.
like she had no elbows. Really,
Tell
knee
you what,
joints
she
are just
did
like little,
have.
they can move like
Cankles.
Yeah, she did. Look at them.
Yeah,
It's rough.
it was
It's
like a
rough.
Robocized.
Yeah, 80s
But
workout.
yeah, all
Leia
else
is
you
what it
needed
looked
was like some leg warmers, come with a little boom box, playing flash dance or something. Yeah, it was bad. It was real bad.
That's rough.
Yeah, they also did a
Oh,
couple based on the Infinity comics where it was kind of like what if things, because there's one where it comes with a white Darth Vader and Princess Leia. There's
oh
another
yeah.
one that comes with Darth Vader and Leia, like if she had become a Jedi. They did a couple of those. Oh, there was another Dina Shan pack that was pretty cool. It was Luke and Dina Shan, and they have these.
The commando
Yeah,
gear.
those
Yeah,
were
the
really
black
cool.
commando gear. Yeah.
I actually only picked those up a
Those
couple
still get.
years ago. I picked up some of those. And
Yeah.
honestly, if
I
you did some head swaps, like you could come up with like a pretty cool Spec Ops team or something.
yeah, I agree. I don't really care for the whole commando thing because I'm more about like straight up army building. But I looked at those real hard, like, man, do I really want to get those? I mean, but the fact they went into the comics that deep, like they went into a lot of the Rogue Squadron stuff too, like Ibitism, it was Walmart exclusive, and Nuren, Bakil, and Plur, and Delur.
Oh, some of these names. Oh,
Those from the
they
comics, man.
yeah, but I mean, there for a while in the Legends era, there were some authors that I thought needed to maybe, yes, they're aliens, but maybe you need to rein it in a little bit on some of the names. Because really, you look at Star Wars, and so many of the names are very, very simple. Han, Luke, Leia. They're not even giving them 2 syllables. And
Yeah.
then to sound alien, like some of these authors, it's like they're like, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, I can't spell that. I can't say it. You know? I mean, let's not forget that there's an alien that's a giant slug, and they just named him Jabba. They
Yeah.
get a little out of hand and a little crazy with some of these alien names.
I have never even heard of this comic pack, and there's not a link to it, so I'll have to look it up. Called Mashuk and Kaolish
Oh,
and
yes,
Ketch.
that was a Ewok pack. It had 3 Ewoks.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah?
and you know what? I'm an Ewok guy. I've bought probably like every Ewok set they had. I did pass on that one because they were colored really out there. You know, like one's head covering would be like bright fluorescent orange, and they were just some, or purple. I think one of them might have been purple. Yeah, they
Purple.
were.
Yeah, purple. One is orangey. Yep. Oh, you got 3 Ewoks in this one though. I
Yeah, I
didn't
guess
realize
because they
that.
were smaller, and back in this time, you got to remember. I mean, this is short. This is right after the 30th anniversary collection, where they were packing in parts of the Cantina bar. They were packing in the torture device Han was on. They were putting in enormous pack-ins. So that doesn't surprise me at all that they had 3 Ewoks. They did that a lot more. Kyle Katarn and Yuzum Vong, I thought that was a good 2 pack.
Oh, that is my Kyle Katarn. Like when I set up a Dark Forces dio, that's the Kyle Katarn I
Absolutely.
use. Even though
Yeah.
I love it, I love that articulation on that guy. I also liked the Luke Skywalker and Lumia when after she become transitions over from the Dark Woman to, or not Dark Woman, but what am I trying to say? When she transfers over and she has like did she have the separate
Yeah,
head
yeah. There was
for the
there
Dark?
was
Yeah.
like the head with the wrappings and the cones and stuff like that, and then there was like a more human head with a scar or something like that. She actually still goes for a decent amount of money, which is why I never got the pack, and I'd like to get Lamaya at some point, but usually she's like about $17 for just her loose. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of playing the long game, hoping to find her for a better price. Another another example of one bad figure and one good figure is Wedge Antilles and Borsk Fele.
Now I have both versions of that because they released 2 different sets
Really?
of that. Yeah.
What's the difference?
I'm trying to think. Give me a second here. Because I noticed that when I was doing my yearly count there about 2-3 months ago, where
Your yearly count, is that kind of
yeah.
like your census for?
Yeah, I get what do I need? What have I got too much of? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, because he says he came out in 2008 as number 14, but he came out again in 2009 as number 4. So, because when I got the first one, right, always get one to open and one to keep, right? And then so I got the second one thinking it was the exact same one, and it wasn't. And I was like, what is the difference? Let me take a look here. Actually, it might be wrong. I might be a little wrong on this
The Wedge
coloring.
Antilles, he had some weird, like he looked like he was wearing some karate outfit or
That
something.
Yeah, that's the Lions
Yeah,
formal
it
gear.
was
That's what
horrible,
that is.
horrible design on that costume. But again, the one figure kind of sucked, and the one was good. Really, if you think about it, that is the only Bothan merchandise I know of.
Yeah, it is. I've never seen any other
And
Bothans. You're
and
right.
and it's like for
Um,
for uh, an alien species that played a rather large part in legend. It's kind of a shame that we haven't gotten another Bothan at some point.
yep. Let me see. Look here. I want to say their placement's different in the packaging. Sometimes Felia's on the right, and sometimes Wedge's on the
Oh, that
right,
might be the
or sometimes
variation
Felia's.
then, I guess.
But yeah, but you can tell one has like the 2008 comic packs on it in the big blue letters, and then the packaging is different too. But I thought there was something different with the figures. I don't know. I might be wrong on that. We'll see. But yes, that is the only place he bought from merchandise, and he did play a huge role in the old EU.
Oh, here under Walmart exclusive. Now this again is a pack that I got them loose only like a few years ago. But the Storm Commando and General Weir, great army builders. Storm Commando is basically Black Biker Scout, and
Mm.
then General Weir is a Black Biker Scout, but he has 2 red bandoliers, and then he has a removable helmet. But
Ah.
I'm a Biker Scout guy, and so I definitely wanted that. Now, as far as the Storm Commando goes, the interesting thing about this is I believe when this pack came out, they just made a Black Biker Scout and put it in there. But the actual Storm Commando, there is one comic where it shows them, and the armor is not exactly the same. The helmet is a little bit different, and I think there's something else, like maybe the boots or something that are different. But I seem to remember that they had the correct version of the Storm Commando in some other pack. I think it might have been like maybe one of the Evolutions packs or something like that. That they have the accurate Storm Commando from the comic.
I never got one because I might have one set because they go for too much. People like to army build those like so like they want like $15-16 just for the Storm Commando. I'm like, no, not today. Not
Yeah,
today.
well, if you want like that kind of biker scout, they really have not counting General Weir, they really have 3 versions. They have the one that I said is a unique sculpt, the Storm Commander, which is just a straight up black colored biker scout, and then they have one that's more of a charcoal gray with an Imperial emblem on the chest, and that is one that came with a black speeder bike.
Yeah,
I do have that one too. I kind of like all those that I can do, my own squad of specialized troopers.
I got you.
Yeah, and then, I mean, we covered a lot. There's plenty of other ones if people want to look them up.
Yeah. Oh, was it the Black Hole? The Black Hole and Black Hole
Okay, now
Stormtrooper. I
that
remember.
is an interesting one. That was so rare. I literally, now I'm counting everywhere. I'm counting conventions. I've only ever seen that set exactly one time years ago at Wizard World Philly. Someone had it, and I'm like, I didn't even know this thing existed. It had the black colored Stormtrooper, which is also known as Shadow Stormtrooper, Black Hole Stormtrooper. I actually think it was exactly the same thing. I don't even think the paint was different. I could be wrong, but I don't even think the paint job was different. And then Black Hole was basically like a hologram of this character named Black Hole.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I remember seeing that. And I thought it was just weird. Like it didn't come with a figure. It was just like it was a round looking. I thought it was a Death Star at first when I first saw it or something like that. Wasn't it?
I think it's
Or was
like
it?
the character like holding his fist up or something like that.
That's
But
what. Okay, that's what it
but
is.
yeah,
Oh,
it was so it was like a hologram, a big chunk of plastic, a hologram, and a Black Hole Stormtrooper. I wouldn't call it a horrible set. A lot of people like army building the Black Hole Stormtroopers. It was just so incredibly rare. I don't know if it's actually valuable or it was just something that I never really saw. Another one that goes for a lot is Master Thom and Trey Say, which I think was like, wasn't she the tree lady?
yeah, she was actually in love with Master
Yeah,
Thom,
yeah.
and I don't remember what happened with them. I didn't realize that was. I don't remember if that was in Tales of the Jedi or was that in for the prequel era.
Yeah, that was the
I think it was
prequel
a
area. I
prequel.
think it was, were they calling it Republic at that point? I
Yeah,
think
I
so.
think it was Republic. Yeah. I didn't really know exactly what happened with those two, but I remember seeing them. I'm like, oh, that's nice. Going on along.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
don't.
saw those in stores. I don't think they were super rare, but they go for a lot now. A lot of EU stuff has kept value. And speaking of kept value, one the Black Hole and Black Hole Stormtrooper I saw exactly one time. One that I've never even seen at a convention is Exar Kun and Ulic Qel-Droma from Tales of the Jedi. And I would actually say that Exar Kun wins the prize for most expensive modern figure.
I mean, because a lot of the old Tales of the Jedi had him in it, is
Yeah.
why he was originally a Jedi. And he falls to the dark side, and this is like multiple series. This goes
Yeah.
on over while
And
his fall to the dark side, and it becomes a huge Sith
yeah,
Lord and shit like
there's
that.
actually, and you would think, being that it's the same pack, that Ulick would go for pretty close, but he actually, last time I checked, I mean, he was going for like 80, and XR Kun was going for over 200, like 225 or something like that, loose.
Yep.
That is insane. I never got this pack because I never saw it. I was fortunate enough that I was at a friend's place, and he was showing me his collection and stuff like that. He had like almost every modern figure that came out, and most of them he had doubles. And I told him, I said, haha, I said, but one thing I don't see you have is I don't see you have XR Kun and Ulick Keldroma. And he's like, yeah, I got them somewhere here, and starts rooting around in a drawer, and he finds them. He's like, oh, I thought I had. He goes, I know I had like two of them, but I can't find the one. And he just gives me his extra Ulick. And
Oh,
are you serious? Like, I'll give you some for it. He's like, nah, I just want to help out a fellow collector. So I have a Ulick Keldroma. Cost me absolutely nothing. But yeah, XR Kun, and I like the character, but I'm not dropping that kind of coin.
yeah, no shit. It might be nice to have just for like something to talk to as a flashback and a diorama or something. But yeah, it's not, to me. It was never worth that much. I don't know. I guess he's also in like some of the books
Yeah,
too.
I
So
didn't think honestly that his likeness was all that good to the comic. Like the figure seemed a lot older than the character portrayed in the comic. And with the armor and stuff like that, he looks not quite Star Wars enough for me. And that's actually why I got rid of my Darth Nihil and my Darth Krayt, because they look a lot more like a fantasy character. Both of those. I mean, like I
yeah,
said, Darth Nihil is pretty much a dark elf. Now he went for a lot when I sold those two. I sold my Darth Krayt for I think $65, and Darth Nihil went for 110. I was really surprised that his prices were actually higher than Ulick. Now that was a number of years ago, and for all I know, that's flip-flopped around. Yeah, at one point I just had to say, you know what? What's worth
hmm
more to me? Having a figure that just doesn't look like it belongs in Star Wars, or the money where I could go buy like 5 other figures. So
yeah. Like you're right. His likeness is terrible in comparison to like
yeah,
the
he kind of
regular
looks like
art
an
for
old
him. Look at
man
that.
almost,
Yeah.
compared to the comic. I mean, if I find
Yeah.
one for like a really good price, maybe I'll pick them up. But it would almost have to be a situation where someone didn't know what they had, and so it was like $20.
Yeah, probably me too. I don't really like. I don't have a lot of use for them, so I'm like, all right, well, I guess. I think it's more like a status symbol at this point, where look what I got. I got Ulick Cold Drama, or I got XR Kun. You're like, oh wow, he wrote a lot of money, and you're like, yeah.
Yeah,
But
I have a few. I
yeah,
have a
no,
few in my collection that are kind of like that, but I still have to like the design for a certain to a certain degree. Like I have some Force Unleashed figures. I didn't get any of the Force Unleashed figures until way after they were out because I hadn't played the game. So I had no investment in the characters whatsoever. It's just, oh, it's some dude from the game. I don't care.
yep, me
Where I
too.
now have a good majority of them, but there's like one or two that I don't care about, like some of the Stormtrooper variations where they're kind of like there's one where it's kind of translucent because they had like these cloaking devices. Yeah,
Yep.
I don't really care about that. It's a Stormtrooper variation that was in like one game. So, I don't care about that. And maybe at some point in the future we'll do like a whole topic just on Force Unleashed figures because they released a ton of figures.
Yeah, yeah, he did. Speaking of, no, it wasn't in Force Unleashed, but it was another game. It was one that I actually am still looking for to get, but it's a little pricey now and then. Is Rom Mach and IG-97 from the old Dark Forces game.
Oh, is that what they
Um,
were from?
yeah, he was a hefty Imperial officer, but I really like using him because I like to set up like Dark Force dioramas because Dark Forces, because you can use Dark Troopers with, and you can use your Kal-Katarn, right? And then you can use the other, like the Dark Trooper Phase 2 or whatever it is, which was hard to get.
Oh, the one
Um,
with the shield and the blade and stuff?
I think that's it. Yeah, with it like it's like got darker armor or whatever. Yeah.
So yeah, I was thinking here to cap it off, why don't we discuss the worst, our favorites, and what we would like to see if they ever did them again.
It restarted? Oh, that sounds good.
Let's start with worst. And I think you might be in agreement with me on this.
Something I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, okay. There were some crap figures. Like I said,
They
the
were alright.
costume design on that wedge wasn't great. There's ones where they just they repacked a Vader. Who cares? But it has got to be, in my opinion, without a doubt,
That Leia.
that Kenkel's Leia.
Oh man, that was so bad, dude. Like I don't even understand what they were trying to do with that entire just.
I'm guessing they went with comic book art. So if they're going with comic book art, okay, you're copying a design that an artist did a lousy design to begin with. But the execution on the figure was bad. And
Yeah.
on top of that, the figure, it does not look anything like a Star Wars figure. Like, you repack a Vader, hey, at least it's a Vader. That's Star Wars. You could easily pack that on a card and put it in with Barbies and girls' little toys. Like I said, like Workout Barbie. Horrible, horrible figure.
There's another bad one. And I'm gonna take some heat for this. I thought was poorly done. Is the Dark Skywalker, Dark Empire 2, Luke Skywalker and cloned Emperor Palpatine. The Power of the Force 2 cloned Emperor Palpatine was 5 POA, and if you saw it, did you ever see what that one looked like? With like I don't know what, okay, with the Leia, I'll give them an excuse. They had to go with what the artist did, and he put her in like a 80s jumper outfit, and they just poorly executed the actual articulation, right? But they got the art from the book. When this Palpatine is made, I have no idea what they're talking about, because the Palpatine that pops out of the cloning cylinder is a young Palpatine, and I guess this Palpatine is quote unquote younger, but he's an old man with liver spots all over him in the figure, and he's got some kind of weird BDSM diaper on.
Yeah,
yeah,
that is weird.
No.
Well, I didn't know that you could take off that cloak and stuff like that, but yeah, that's kind of creepy.
I don't know what they were looking at. It's not as bad as that Leia, because he does have articulation, in the groin area, apparently. You see, he does have soft goods like Leia does. He does have knee joints, but just not good looking figure. I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead and just say Leia's worse, but he's got the honorable mention.
I agree. Worst. All right, so my favorite, I would say honorable mentions to just across the board. A lot of the legacy ones, I'd say primarily the Imperial Knights. They're pretty cool. But I think I'm going to go with my overall best pack, Thrawn and Talon Card.
Ooh.
And I tell you why. For a couple reasons. One, they are both new figures that, technically they did a Thrawn before. But they're both new figures. They're not repacking a Vader or like a repainted whoever. So the molds are completely brand new. Card's a character that they never made. They're both fully articulated, which a lot of the packs didn't do. And also there are potential uses for customization. You could do a head swap on card or whatever, turn them into some other character. Thrawn, you could do a head swap and hand swap and, make him another Grand Admiral figure. So I think that is a really, really solid.
Yeah, it does edge out Azel / Junlin Luke. Because, Dina Shannon's up there for me, that the officer version. But, so that would be, the complimentary too. But, Card does edge out Luke for Lieutenant Junlin's horrible, just reuse of Azel's body. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to agree on that one.
I'm browsing over some of them, and I'm like, because everything else I can think of where there is a figure that I really think is a strong figure, there's a weaker figure that it's with.
I tell you, one it came close, but he has horrible swivel elbows, was Asherard Head and the Dark Woman. That was a pretty good one.
That's pretty good. I'd say another one is Yasan Isard and Baron Fell.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, that should be number because they were all both fully
Yep,
articulated on
yep.
that one. Yep, yep. And you finally got the red stripe for, but they got the wrong head on Fell, and I
Yeah,
will never forgive them because they put the wrong head because when you look because they put Fell in two packs. They put him with Yonsani Isard, and
the
then they put
officer and the TIE fighter
him.
gear, and the heads, they look like completely different people.
Yeah, well, not only that. Okay, with Yonsani Isard in the officer gear, he's got a beard. All right, which he didn't have. He got the beard during the Brental 4 campaign against Rogue Squadron. And so the one that comes with Hobby should be the one with the beard. But that's the one where he's the old man with a wide chin that looks with no facial
Hmm.
hair on him. So they should have had those heads. So I tried to swap the heads, but the ball joint on the neck is totally
Yeah, and
different.
and the
But
body
yeah,
on the one with the TIE fighter pilot. Oh my
he's
goodness,
huge.
yeah.
Yeah, he's a real
Yeah,
rip.
like he could
He's
he
from
could
the
wrestle that Power of the Force 2 Rebel Rebel fleet trooper.
yeah. No, that I don't mind because in the books, he is ripped. Like he is, like that's how they were drawing him. That
Um,
just,
are we in agreement then that the Thrawn and card is the best?
I'm looking.
Everything I'm seeing that it like I like that Mara Jade pack, but she's got swivel elbows, and the Luke was hardly at any posability. Boom, that brings it
Yeah,
down. There's always something that brings it down, I think, in my mind.
yeah, I think yeah, I'm probably gonna say the Grand Admiral Thrawn as well. I'm looking to see if there's any
You know what?
Anakin.
Remember there was a set that we could not find for anything, and there's another one that I just thought of. Again, it was an exclusive comic pack.
Yeah, the Sony Isard pack
It
isn't
had
on
this
this
dude
list.
who was like a bounty hunter of some sort. It was a quasi Mando looking costume, and then an alien female that had whitish hair. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Oh, those are from Tales of the Jedi, if I remember correctly. Because she looks kind of like this body sculpt of Layla Blue, but not without the clothing. She's got more whitish hair and like little spots on her.
Yeah,
On her,
I'm not
yeah.
finding that
She's not
anywhere
on here.
on this list because I actually have that
Let me
one. I,
check.
I picked it up a couple years ago at a convention. Someone had a few comic packs, and they apparently didn't know that they were worth anything because they were selling them really cheap. And I think I got it for like $14 or something like that. I don't remember what her name was. Now, I'm not saying that pack would beat out some of these other ones, but I know it was, two pretty good figures. So the question now would be, if they brought comic packs back, what
Mm.
would be good packs? And I would say include we can include Legends and we can include like the new Marvel comics too. I don't care. I don't care what
Okay.
they're from. I think there are two really glaring omissions as far as characters go, and the one should have been packed with Zjor instead of that awful Leia, and that's Guri. We have not gotten a Guri figure yet, ever.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, we could probably custom a Guri out of all the parts they already
We,
have
we,
ready
we
to go.
could, but
So,
but I'm saying she's the character that should have been in the pack, and we've never gotten a figure of it. However, I will say then, going forward, if they were to come out with new pack, Guri and Dash Rendar.
all right, Gori and Dash Rinder were two highly, highly needed updates. So yeah, I can be cool with that. Um, Let me think who else. Of the old canon, they'd never do it because I don't think they ever made comic appearances. They were only in the books, but they need to repack. They just straight repack and find some comic book they were in. Jaina and Jason Solo, because those figures go for crazy
Oh yeah.
amounts.
Well, even if they just did
Yeah.
anything, even if they just reissued them, they really should.
Yeah,
The same with like
just
Exar Kun and Ulic Keldroma. Like just reissue them. They
yeah.
have the mold to do it. People will go nuts for those because I'm sure there's thousands of people who would love to have those figures, and they're never going to pay the prices they're going for.
All right, let's do like three. We'll do three from each. Because like I'm trying. I got three or four I can
Okay.
think of. All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, now this I don't know what you would pack it with. I would say you could maybe repack Thrawn, but we've never gotten a Nagori, and that's now
Uh,
canon. They brought Rook in, so
Yeah, I know they brought Rook in, but Naguri, they have the mold and ready to go. He was supposed to be that last year comic patch
But
before he got
animated
canceled.
probably, right?
Like there's well from the comic book because he wasn't animated at that point. This is from 2010,
Oh,
2011.
oh, okay. No, I thought you meant
Yeah.
from his appearance in Rebels they were going to do a figure.
No, his appearance in Rebels is more like what the book, like the novel, talks about how they're supposed to be. Like when you go back and go back to the guide of characters, big Western game books for Rook. That's he looks a lot more like in that like what he looks in like in Rebels of what he in what the novel
Right.
talks about him like more lithe and quick and assassiny. But now when you read the Heir to the Empire comic book, he is ripped. Like it's crazy how ripped he is. I remember that was one of the complaints people actually wrote about that. Like, yeah, Rook is way too ripped than what he's
Yeah,
supposed
and
to
they're
be.
very short
But
too.
yeah, little guys. Now, but no, they tooled him up, so he's ready to. He's
Oh,
got a
wow.
prototype
Okay.
somewhere. Yeah.
Were there ever any pictures leaked of that?
Yeah, I got one saved, but it's a real bad resolution because it was on Rebel Scum some time ago. But yeah, he's been tooled up. Well, I mean, an easy one would be Captain Paleon, but we're all doing Heir of the
Oh,
Empire,
okay,
Captain
there
or
you go.
Admiral
Rook and
Nala.
Captain Pelion. Perfect.
Oh yeah, there you
Perfect. There
go.
you go.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't want Captain Paleon. Well,
I want Captain
yeah,
Pelion.
I do. But I have another Luke that can be put out that because I mean, in the comic books he does a couple of changes. We could get Shadows of the Empire Luke with the vest on, where he wears
Oh,
the vest
yeah.
over
Yeah,
top his black shirt.
that's true. They've never done that version.
Yeah, but in we can get maybe a told. Well, I'm trying to think who else was in who'd be in the Shadows of the Empire that would be. Oh, Dengar's little his little droid that hangs out with Dengar. Not Dengar, but Dash Rendar. Dash Rendar's little droid buddy.
Man, I don't even remember that.
Yeah, no one remembers him. He was kind of like the quirky droid from Force Unleashed that wanted to kill
Okay.
Starkiller. He was kind of like that, but not as murderous. So he was Dash's sidekick buddy. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Two Shadows of the Empire packs, and
Yep.
as far as characters from like the new comic, Santa Solo,
Okay.
and now I don't think they would work together in the same pack, but I'm thinking new canon stuff, and I think she has appeared in the comic. Sloane.
Yes, yeah. Ray Sloan's been in the
Okay.
comics. Yes. I mean, just basically. I mean, it's a real easy one. That's head swap.
Yeah, I don't think the two of them would work together, but those are two that I
No, they
think
wouldn't.
are needed.
You could pack her with a Kanan Jarrus because he was always hitting on her and she
A
hated him.
realistic.
A realistic Kanan Jarrus. Yes, good call. Oh, but let me go back to what I was gonna say. So another Luke besides the one that had the vest on Shadows of the Empire. If we were gonna do it from the Heir of the Empire series, this would be from not Dark Force Rising. What was the third one called? The
Right.
Last Command. I would want Clone Luke. All right, that's another Luke technically. All right, counts. People will buy it. And then I want Joros Sabayon.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
That's
that
a
would
good
be
one right there.
hot. And then from the new canon, I mean, there's a couple of different ones that would be nice. I'd really like to get Thrawn's little translator guy that runs around with him all the time, the little Imperial officer
Okay.
guy.
I don't think he was in any of the. Well, no, they did an adaptation, the Thrawn comic, right? Okay.
Yeah, he's in that. He's actually based off, I think, Tom Wopat. Maybe you can throw another Thrawn in there as a
Yeah,
refugee
yeah, that's
Thrawn,
what I was
or
gonna
maybe
say. The
Lieutenant Thrawn,
long-haired Thrawn.
muscled, all ripped out Thrawn. Yeah,
I can't remember her name. That officer with the cybernetics that is like Aphrodite's love interest.
oh yeah, I don't remember her name either, but has like the neck
Yeah,
cybernetics and
you
stuff
put
like
her and
that.
Santa
Yeah,
Solo together because they have been in the same comic. I think like the last story arc with Aphra, both of them were in it. So that would actually work.
yeah, true. They have been. See, I don't think she'd be a real ornate figure to make, so they wouldn't do it. It was Queen Trios because she was really she's been in the
Yeah,
comics a lot.
yeah.
Of course, Afra has. I'm
They
trying to think
they
who
they've been
else.
doing a lot with the calamari too lately.
Yeah, we could do some get Calamari Warriors back. I'm trying to think.
What you do is you do the King. What his name is? Shatar or something like that. You do the King, and then because we want it, a super articulated Admiral Radis.
Yeah, I would mind Radis. I mean, if you want to do OT, you could do the Generals. You could also Generals from Yavin. They're all in the comics. So is what's his name from Rogue One. Uh,
Dodonna.
Not the Rebel Commander from Rogue
Oh,
One.
Draven, I think.
Draven, yeah, he's in the comics too. You know, he's been
Yeah,
in
it's
Rogue
true.
One.
Yeah. All right, so I think that wraps it up on our review of the much beloved comic pack. You know,
Mm.
hopefully they'll bring them back at some point in the future. I actually don't really even care about them having the comics with them. It's just they seem to be a great way to get out EU figures. I think that is one of their big strong points. Is a lot of the characters they picked, even if it was just something where they were reusing a mold and coming up with a new head sculpt or something like that. The nice thing was we were getting new characters. And I think that,
Yeah.
especially today, that is sorely lacking because I think with all the new content coming out, you know, Hasbro's very limited to how many figures they can put out anymore and how fast they can do it. So the comic packs were really just kind of a great way for them to do that sort of thing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I know. I think they've said recently they're going to start doing the comic packs again, and I thought like 4 years ago, they were going to do it. They said that too, and I could never find that that recording when they said that, so I had to go. All right, well, let's hope.
Well, I think it
Uh,
was more or less they kind of hinted that it was within consideration. I think there's so many factors on that. One of them is you know, who's heading up the brand. Another one is basically what's dictated to them by Lucasfilm as far as where they're supposed to focus their energy.
I hope they go back and use the old EU for some figures. I know they've done nothing but new stuff since. Have they? They don't think they've hit any new EU figures except for that Jaina Solo 6-inch, right?
As far as like Legends stuff,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't really think they have, but they have mentioned multiple times, I believe, that just because it's old EU/Legends, that nothing's like actually off the table. All right,
Mm.
well, yeah, I think that covers our topic, and it was a lot of fun covering, you know, something specific. um, where can people find you, Matt?
Like always, if you want to stalk me, I'm on Twitter at Rezakai. Um, I'll be hopefully contributing to a new website with blogs and pictures at something about the Kessel Run. Well, hopefully that'll be up eventually.
I do have the Facebook page up, though.
Oh, well, yes, you do, and I might post some of it eventually when I get some new stuff in, or maybe just start a conversation there. We should do that just to see what happens and see
Yeah,
what's coming.
definitely. And people can find me on Twitter at Jedi Raylan. They can also check out my business where I make really cool custom diorama parts at Hole in the Ground Productions on Facebook, and the website is holeinthegroundpro.com. And yeah, we have a Kessel Run Collecting Facebook page, and we have a website, but we're not really doing a whole lot with it at the moment. You know, the problem with social media is not everyone has every social media. You know, some people have just Facebook or just Twitter, Instagram, whatever.
Mhm.
But I am thinking like a lot of the photos that I want to put out there, Facebook might be a little bit better because people are already on Facebook, so they'll get notifications like, "Hey, something's posted to this page that I like," and they'll go visit it. Whereas if something's updated to the website, they have to be proactive and actually go to the website to see what's new. So I think that is one of the benefits of the Facebook page. And just the fact that it basically has a built-in forum, so other customizers can go and just post right to the Facebook page and stuff like that. I have a feeling we'll probably end up using that more so than the website, quite honestly.
Yeah, I hope so. I can because I do like to bring up conversation because it gives us more content to talk about later on when we go to record instead of just going, oh, do I remember this? Let's look up this prototype that we can't find that happened 12 years ago for 35 minutes that we can't figure out. We got found, by the way. Well, I found a picture of it, by the
Awesome,
way.
send it to me.
But yeah, because this way we can keep a better pulse on what's going on. There's so much good that could be done with better outreach on a website. We can rant about stuff that no one cares about, and/or get ideas for new diorama parts for you to make.
Yeah.
The options are endless.
Kessel Run Collecting is not affiliated with Lucasfilm or Disney. and is merely a couple of guys talking about Star Wars. No Ewoks were harmed during the making of this podcast. Figure photos for this episode were from yakface.com and rebelscum.com. Both websites have excellent photo galleries for Star Wars collectors, and I suggest you check them out. Till next time.